just want to let you all know that we still have some incentives going on, even including this run. If you have any, if you want to pick the costumes for this game, you can donate and you can make Emeraldaly pretty much pick any of the clothes that she desires for this game. This also goes out to be both the prince and the princess clothes.
Thank you. Hi. Did we get any donations for the costume choice, the skin choice? I prefer to call it costume. Skin sounds so macabre. Alright, I'll just leave them with the defaults then. Now, like I said, I mentioned this in the Discord a couple weeks ago. This is not often drawn donations, but it's just such an obvious thing to offer. No harm in offering. Alright, are you gonna count me in? Do you want me to count you in? The timer? Alright, the time starts at first movement, so go ahead and count me in. Oh. Alrighty. Welcome everyone, this is Prince of Persia 2008 Epilogue 20%. This is the console exclusive DLC episode to the 2008 Prince of Persia reboot. Cell-shaded Prince of Persia. First thing we have to do is catch up to our companion Elika, who's mad at us because we brought her back from the dead. If you've played the Prince of Persia base game, I assure you it makes sense in context. For much of the parkouring throughout the game, we will need her help. This first alleyway is obviously set up in such a way that we don't. And we're on our way to our first fight, right off the bat.
Then why are you here, and not him?
His power.
This charming fella covered in black and blue goop is Elika's father, the Morning King. And again, why he's covered in black and blue goop makes sense in context. Consider this an ad for you all to play the base game Prince of Persia 2008. It is a very good game, and Smathlax in chat is the world record holder for that run. He recently got a console and starting learning this game, which has me very excited. What you saw there was an unblockable combo that deals massive damage. We didn't actually even do all of it in that fight. We'll face the Morning King 4 times. First fight, we don't even do a full combo. The second fight will be 1 in 1 full combo. The third fight will take 2.5 combos. And the fourth fight works a little differently. See about that when we get there.
Great. Good. Me too. Glad you could join me.
Yeah. Fortunately, I took a little too long in the first alleyway, or maybe just waiting to be counted in or something, so I have to wait to get the cycle I want, which is the one blob going up the wall. Usually on run attempts, unless you make a significant mistake in the fight with the Morning King, in which case you would just reset, but usually in a run attempt you get to that point and don't have to wait at all for the cycle. It was kind of fun watching Smathlax practice this section of the game the other day, and he did basically everything except go on the intended path. And who knows, maybe time saves will be found, or backup strats. did not look too soon, but it was.
When we escape, let's go somewhere flat.
I gotta wait for that 2-blob cycle again, so this is obviously a very, very fast start. One of the best ways in this game, and I imagine the base game too, although I don't run the base game, one of the best ways to turn a good run into a great run, and oh, this is a good example of not being on the usual cycle, because ordinarily you have to wait on that beam, so get a little bit of the time back, but one of the best ways to turn a good run into a great run is ring run shorting. I had another runner of the base game, V-Pop, turn me on to this, and she told me that in many cases you don't have to do the full ring run after going through, the full wall run after going through a ring, and yeah, there's a lot of places it works. There's some it doesn't. And probably my favorite thing about it is the game explicitly tells you not to do it.
Together! Keep doing that!
We just skipped a couple of the soldiers of Ahriman, the big bad guy. Here, Racer, thanks for that. You can see they're still waiting to spawn in, and unless I mess up, they never will. And they never will. That is a, if you want to call it a trick, it's really just optimizing your pathing that I picked up from Smathflax. Ooh, first try, let's go. This skips a lot of intended parkouring. It's not a humongous time save because to execute the skip, as you can see, still takes a good bit of time, but it's certainly worth doing if you can get it certainly that fast. I would take that in a run 10 times out of 10. Small, again, skip if you want to call it here. It's just really creative pathing going up this wall to avoid going into the zone with the infected air.
The Aura were here.
And we're up here.
There's a doorway there.
Let's move this.
And Elika physically exists in this world. That's the name of our companion, if I didn't say that already. Which is kind of cool, but in many cases it comes across as a little annoying in the speedrun because she can be in your way where you want to go, and you also have to wait for her, as I did just there, to help you turn a crank, and right here as well. Sometimes this wall section decides you do not deserve to live. Ah, but it was kind this time. If I can get this skip, I was struggling with it in practice just a moment ago. It took me like 4 tries. Hey, there we go. That's a skip you wouldn't really recognize unless you've played this game. There are other skips that you would not recognize unless you've speedrun this game, and there are skips that you would recognize no matter what. And I kind of like that this game has all those various kinds of skips in it. The warrior will never actually parry you here. I've tested it dozens of times, and he has never once parried me. So spamming sword shots is faster than spamming Elika, which is what I'll do in all the other encounters with the warrior. Because in the other encounters, he can't parry you. This is the hunter.
I need you.
He's much smaller, so we can use our throw combo against him and knock him off the edge. That's that.
We should move on. He will only send more servants to stop us.
You told me they were dead.
Ahriman is creating creatures from the corruption, but he must still be weak. He's using forms he's familiar with. Ones he can create easily.
So those weren't the corrupted?
They had no souls.
Had no soul. So we're about to do one of the bread and butter glitches this game has, called the ledge warp. And by doing it to the ledge we're already standing on, it enables us to airwalk. Go here, set a hang like there, give us a good camera angle, back up to the back, jump off, fall to the right, so one hand is hanging off.
Together.
I had to count audio cues there, so that's why I stopped talking for a moment. See, that's a little bit further than I wanted to go, but it's still fine. And as you can see, we were Fucking on air. No skip for this section, sadly. We just have to wait out these blobs. You'd think Elika could give us her power to traverse the blobs. No. Don't want to grab that fisher, because if you do, it basically guarantees, I'm not sure this is 100% certainly true, but in my experience, it basically guarantees that this soldier will spawn. Since we didn't, I can kill him before he spawns. Over here we set a hang. Now we need to get to a spot where we can do a proper ledge warp. And I don't think this is going to get me there. No, it did not. That was a little bit more angle to my jump. And up. Oh. This is one of the spots where Smathflax can gain a little time against me when he goes to hit the world record for this game. I take a... Oh, okay, that happened. That's not what I was expecting to happen. I take a very slow setup for that ledge warp. I don't know why that happened. Let's try this again. You can just eyeball this setup, but every time I've tried, I've fallen off.
Coming past.
Go to the back, switch places with Elika, take a tiny step forward, and now I'm having brain fart. I don't remember which side to fall off of for a moment there. Wait for that blob to go past, and we grip fall out of bounds instead of inbounds. Ideally, it would happen just a little bit faster than that. But we can still bypass all the blobs on the inbound side and keep falling through the door shaft. Yay! We get to see it again. This never used to give me any trouble, but as I've gotten, better at the game, I am more of a record holder. Like, humble brag. This has been the thing that gives me the most trouble. I had one marathon run where this took 8 tries. Like, 8 complete tries. Will be okay? Nope, don't think it is. This is not why my estimate is almost 10 minutes slower than my PB. That's actually for a skip that's coming up after this one.
Which way now?
Oh, okay, so you didn't see me fail this skip like 4 times. First try, yay! This hallway here is a little bit treacherous with these blobs on the wall, but you can actually sort of delay your jump from one wall to the other just a little bit. Just enough to get past the blobs if you can see you're on a bad cycle. You don't instantly fall to your quote-unquote death. Oh, you can't die in this game. Bad game, 4 out of 10. And delay it in midair just a moment, and that's enough to make it so basically any cycle for that little hallway is doable.
We're cut off. We'll have to get through that gate.
Now, you may notice me jumping as I hit the ground in a lot of cases. That is to avoid a recovery animation where the prince basically stops in place for, it's like a good second or two before you can even walk forward.
Araman is trying to cut us off.
It's not lit. Maybe there's some sort of temple.
It's not
Somewhere
lit,
we can
fam.
activate the plate?
No.
Or there's another way out of here.
There is nowhere to go. Even if we escape here, there is nowhere to run to.
I can think of 100 places.
Honestly, technical difficulties happening when I fail to skip 3 times, I can live with that.
His power is growing. He's getting closer.
Instead of having to collect dozens or even hundreds of light seeds as you would in the base game to power up these plates, Prince just smacks it once. Why didn't he think to do that during the base game? Am I right, Snapflax?
There is always another way out.
Quickly, while the power holds!
Alright, you're supposed to turn 3 levers in this room to make the black ooze disappear.
The corruption has gone
We
down.
will only turn 1.
There.
We haven't escaped yet.
I have a skip coming up that, if I miss it, it makes the run invalid, because I soft-locked the game. And to load up the save file and get back there again takes about 2.5 minutes, which is, by the estimate, is so much more than my PB, which is 3824. Hopefully it won't come to that. I say recently, I haven't grinded out runs of this game in a while, but recently, compared to the entire time I've been running this game, I started taking a slightly slower setup for this skip. It has increased my hit rate quite a bit, and I failed it! Wow. Right as I start talking about how much better I am at this skip now. Oh gosh. I tried it 3 times in practice earlier this morning and got it all 3 times, so maybe that was a bad omen. Alright, run is now invalid, but another shot. Typically at the end of marathon runs, I like to show off that soft lock in all its glory. I don't know if we'll have time today, since I kind of had extra longer setup necessary, and apologies for that. Hopefully whatever the intermission, if there was music, hopefully it was entertaining. Alright, let's give this another shot. What the heck was that? Okay. I think we might just be going over estimate on this one. TBH. Not again! I was lined up and then he didn't jump where I was facing. So this is bad. This is quite bad indeed. Indeed. I don't know. I had a marathon run once where I had to try this skip 3 times. And I wound up only 3 seconds overestimate, so I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to say this is where most of my PB attempts end. Actually, end most of them before this point.
The corruption has gone down.
They used to almost all end here back when I was worse at the game. Okay, fingers and toes crossed.
Thanks.
Are you kidding me? Let's enjoy the soft lock for a couple of seconds. That's where she puts you. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, this is usually not this big a problem for me. I've never failed it this much. So I can guarantee this is going over estimate now, unless I load a save file later in the game. Which, to be honest, I almost just...
Corruption has gone down.
There.
We haven't escaped yet.
Now I'm stressing about it. I wasn't lying earlier when I said the setup I take for where to grind on this magic blue wall has greatly increased my success rate with this. Should be. Probably won't be.
Keep doing that. Elika?
Oh, about damn time. So that's a power plate you're only supposed to be able to reach once you've turned all 3 levers. Reaching it quote-unquote early makes the game think you've turned all the levers and the rest of the use just disappears.
All this for us, Ahriman? If he can't be stopped, Elika, why is he trying to stop us?
So the warrior can parry you in this fight, but I don't even try the sword. The sword would theoretically be faster, but Elika is 1000% safer. Because there's no parrying Elika at all, that's just not a thing. Alright.
That's it. Take whatever form
At least
you
we got
want.
past it.
You're still finished. Don't you see? If he's trying to stop us, he's scared of something. He's scared of you.
Coming up in the next area is an even harder skip.
Not what our
Yay.
group thinks.
I haven't the power to stop him. Only Ormaz can do that.
The skipping the next area is it's the Garden Airwalk. The area's garden is what the area's called. Practiced it earlier too. Got it 4 times out of 4. So watch me fail it for 10 minutes. A sneaky little, if you want to call it a skip here. You don't have to crawl up this fissure, you can just jump away from it right away, and the prince's little scamper move there gets him to the top of the wall here. Yeah, I'm on a completely weird cycle since this is not exactly where you would be if you were on a run that was on good pace. Which is fine, that's almost always the case in marathon runs, to be honest. Yeah, I usually can't do this little move. Not that little move, that was my finger twitching and me hitting the button twice. Trying to just wall run there. My finger had my thumb had a little spasm and hit the jump button twice. Thumb knows how bad this run is. I think I'm on the same cycle that I was a second ago, so show that off. That's a spot there that shows one of the more annoying aspects of traversal with Elika. As I say, she physically exists in the world, so when you have to pull her up, it can, that move there is one I don't usually get to do in PV runs, because the blob is in the way. When you pull her up, it can, as the game stores your inputs, so if you think you're gonna scamper up on a good cycle, but then you have to pull Elika up, it can make it a bad cycle instead. And until you learn to expect that, it can really be a source of aggravation. The box there to get past that blob is very narrow. So this guy doesn't spawn. Y'all. Alright.
How big is this place? Let's see what those cranks do.
Ideally, we will not see what these cranks do. So to hang come from here-ish and get an airlock. Nope.
See? Your powers are still strong.
This feels way too far back. Close. I tell you I was gonna fail this for 10 minutes. reset the hang. Trying to restrain my language a little. If this was my own personal stream, you'd be hearing some curses and epithets, I assure you. Not out of the woods yet. We have to not have that happen!
When we escape, let's go somewhere flat. No!
Okay, if you're watching, please don't save this run. I am begging you, please don't save this run. Shoka is kind of the head of our principal community and has done a really nifty job saving all the marathon runs over. But this one deserves to be forgotten. I'm about ready to start crying. I'm sorry, my commentary might lapse a little bit because my heart is just not in it at this point.
One of the bars has moved. Let's use the plate and see if we can move the other bars.
Keep doing that! Let's go!
And that camera view happens because the tower is never supposed to be in that position when you're here.
Thanks!
And I am going to seriously ask
That's moved the
you to
second
please do not tell me the run, the time at the end of the run. I do not want to know. I hope it's still at least sub 1 hour. Say
That's
that.
it. We can go on. That should let us reach the mechanism.
Frankly, this is humiliating. And I'm sorry I'm being so down in the dumps right now, but I can't really get past it just yet. I can fight with the Morning King.
Ahriman seeks you.
He can seek her, but he's not going to get her.
It is you he seeks. State your wish.
I wish you and Ahriman would go swallow yourselves.
He always charges us. the full combo. It does his entire health
Your
bar.
time is ending. Give yourself to Armin.
You would turn your back on fortune.
You would serve some false god.
You shall go no further.
Your deeds are done.
Let's get out of here.
Why don't you take
How's
me?
everybody doing? Hopefully better than me.
That's what you think of me? That I could do that? Let's see if you were right about the path forward.
We must use the plates.
And I was going to say we should just hold hands and hope.
The green plate is a carryover from the base game. They all are except the purple one. The purple one is introduced in the epilogue. Run along walls and ceilings from plate to plate. They're basically auto-scrollers, but you can definitely still die here. Again, quote-unquote die. The way this run is going, I'm surprised I didn't hit that one there. There was a case of Elika existing in the world, making me slow down because, like, her model's hitbox was infringing upon the prince's. That can happen a lot when, if you don't get the skip in the water tank area, the drop glitch, I think it's called. All these things had names in the base game run before I ever picked the epilogue up. That can happen a lot if you don't get that one first try, because Elika naturally will come toward the prince, just as a matter of course. So if you're in that little edge before doing the drop glitch, she can be in your way. At least I haven't lost any charge QTEs. That has happened in marathon runs, and I mean, it's less bad than failing every skip 30 times. But okay, me and my big freaking mouth. Could have gotten a lot worse. That was one extra charge than should have been necessary, because he took a step forward when I did lose that one QTE, but we still got him.
Doesn't matter what you try, Armin. You're not going to stop us. First you offer me gold, then you try to kill me. Those are sort of mixed messages.
Whoever wanted to buy a vowel, there's a great phrase coming up here.
I hope that's not an omen.
It must be the mausoleum of Achaemenes, king of the Ura when the city fell.
Mausoleum of Achaemenes.
And they buried
Like I
him
say,
under...
buy a vowel.
Not much of a reward.
He refused to be buried in the city. He felt shame for allowing the city to fall. He was laid to rest in secret. Pilgrims found his tomb. They built this.
Then we should hope it is an omen. Ahriman can be stopped. But Princess, if I die in the cause, cremate me. These places give me the creeps.
Now, ordinarily, it bugs me that there's no substantial skip in this room. Right now, I think I'm actually thankful because it means there's nothing I can muck up.
Let's see what this
Just do everything the way you're
The wall
supposed
is
to.
tilting.
I've always thought the purple plate introduced kind of a plot hole into the game's lore, because it's established in the base game that these power plates are remnants of sorceries used by Elika's people, the Ura, centuries, millennia ago to rule the land and seal away the Dark God. So why would there have been a power centuries and millennia ago to restore ruined sections of walls? But what are you doing? Why did that happen? Hey, Robbie. I think you mean Drep, not Smath. No offense, Smath. But if anybody does, I think it's gonna be Drep. Once they get the emulator up and running.
Let's see what this does.
Which I'm convinced is just a matter of time. I hope you have not been here for this entire train wreck, Robbie. But it is nice to see. I think the biggest problem with potentially finding a skip in this room is you start up high, and where you want to go is low. And most substantial skips in this game, most of them you stay level, I want to say. And the ones where you change altitude, you go up, you don't go down.
This has to take us somewhere. Let's see what this does.
There is a little glitch or something that can happen during this parkouring that I've never quite understood. I've definitely lost runs to, and the way this run is going, I'm expecting it to happen. Where you just, on the very last wall run before your final landing, where you just don't end up high enough to grab the ring on the wall. There's nothing you can do about it. That ring right there, so let's see. Did I call it or what?
See? Powers are still strong.
No idea what causes that. I've lost world record pace runs to it. And I've lost absolutely terrible runs to it. Oh. I've lost the run to it. Happened in this not so very good run. Comparatively to what's already happened, that's not a catastrophic time loss. It certainly would kill a run if it was on pace. Third fight with the Morning King.
You know what awaits you, Emeraldaly. All your life, you knew what would happen when Oromon was free.
Charge us again? No. Okay, I'm even sucking at this right now.
For the light. I'm ready.
You will die.
That should have only been 2.5 combos. It wound up being 2 3/4 and a bunch of bonus sword hits because I'm terrible at the video game this morning.
Always run away. We are
We canceled the last hit of the combo with a block. Last hit is the most damaging, but it also plays like a mini cutscene of sorts. It's the most cinematic hit, so the DPS is actually much higher if you don't do that hit. Airwalk here. Thankfully, this one's easy to die. Once I found a setup.
We're getting close. We are almost through this place.
I think we need to
58 steps on that airwalk. Which, at one point in my life, I thought was a lot, and then I found out about some of the airwalks in the base game run. There's a funny non-beneficial glitch after this fight that I'll show just because it's funny. It doesn't cost that much time. After you push the hunter off when the
How
fights,
close are we to getting out
you
of here?
leave the room too
Once
early,
we get out of here.
that happens.
Let's get out of here.
No idea why. The way to keep it from happening is to not jump out of the room until the first line of subtitles shows up on the bottom of the screen. I'll skip here that I usually don't get, so I'll probably nail it. Oh, didn't nail it.
Glad you're still doing that.
This drives. There we go. It just skips a little bit of running around, saves about 10 seconds if you get it first try. If you get it second try, it's basically a watch. Probably could have gone there, but oh well. And this should be a fall that kills you, but since in cutscene you land from a jump, you can just jump down. For a while, I was grinding down that wall. No reason to, it's just a time. Elika jumps on ahead of us here, and surprise! Fourth and final fight against the Morning King. We don't have Elika's help in the first phase of the fight. We can still throw the king. Which winds up being how we can quickly defeat him. At least at this level. We push him down to the second level, as Elika so helpfully suggests to us. And at this point we will have Elika's help. We don't really need it though. Over. Push him back. I guess I do use Elika, but you don't have to.
Elika, the throne!
And if we had let them talk a little bit, we would have heard how nothing is damaging the Morning King right now. Not the sword, not Elika's magic, nothing. So we find the one thing that can damage him. Not the sword, not Elika's magic. Spikes on a throne? I've never quite understood this.
Elika, get back! Get back!
That's Elika trying to heal her father of the corruption, which is a thing from the base game. Does not succeed. Coming up here is One of the skips I mentioned earlier that you would not recognize unless you actively speedrun the game yourself. I made a shambles of all the skips that anyone would recognize. This one's easy. It saves about 2 seconds. It's not insubstantial. It involves shorting not this ring, this one. Jump away.
Let's see where this
Double
goes.
jump away from the magic wall, you land right on the green power plate. That saves about 2 seconds over completing all the wall runs. And it's not bad. There's a couple of things you have to keep in mind when doing it, but it was basically a free 2 seconds when I discovered it. Those tend to be the kind of skips that I discover, you know, movement optimizations to save a second or 2 seconds. Damage him but gets him stuck? Yeah, maybe, especially since, lo and behold, he's not actually dead.
Don't play fair, do they?
It's Araman.
Don't get you out.
Let's not find out.
There's no more fights, it's just parkouring now. It's the end.
Go! Go!
Alright, time is in about 1 minute unless I muck up again, which I wouldn't discount the possibility.
Let's keep this going!
First time I ever ran this game with a timer, I got like a 56 something. I wonder if this will beat that.
Let's go!
I don't actually want to know. Like I said, like 20 minutes ago or so, please don't tell me the time. I really don't want to know.
Thanks!
Alright, time is imminent. When we land on that balcony. Time.
I think we're clear.
I couldn't.
Thanks for having me.
Araman was too strong.
Just because he's growing stronger doesn't mean...
If I couldn't stop him now, how can I ever hope to? Araman is free, and he will only grow more powerful.
We have to get out of here. If we cross the desert, there's a city 2-3 days from here. Or there's a port. It's further, but we could cross the sea, find somewhere further away.
Go where you will. May Ormaz watch over you.
Elika, you can't do this alone.
I know. That is why I must find my people.
Elika! Elika!
coming up, we have Blazing Chrome arcade mode being run by Kiritar. But we are kind of behind our schedule at the moment, so we are going to do some quick fire intro the next few runs. So the next run is after that will be Isle of Eve by Kuno Dementries. So yeah, I'll see you real soon.